Hello and welcome to Sunil Poddar. This is the second video on development of management thought. In this video, we will discuss modern management approaches. So, with no delay, let's begin. Since 1960, streams of thoughts have been recognized within the context of current management theory. First, a quantitative approach or management science or operations research. Second, systematic method or system approach. Third, contingency approach or situational approach. Fourth, a contemporary approach or modern approach. The different streams of thought that have arisen in management theory since the 1960s are referred to as modern management approaches. These approaches reflect changing attitude toward management and emphasize different aspects of organizational functioning. The four primary methods of modern management are quantitative approach to analyze and address managerial issues. The quantitative approach to management employs statistical and mathematical techniques. Operations research or management science are other names for this strategy. It places a strong emphasis on using data and quantitative techniques to make decisions and raise organizational effectiveness. Systematic approach. According to systematic approach, organizations are seen as a system with interconnected sections. This method takes into account an organization's input, processes and outputs, as well as their interaction with the environment. Managers are able to better understand the complexity of organizations and how they work by using the system approach. In contingency approach, this strategy acknowledges that there is not a single but universal remedy for a management problems. This implies that the most appropriate course of action will depend on the particular conditions and managers should employ several strategies as needed. The situational approach is another name for the contingency approach. Contemporary approach. This method of decision making emphasizes the value of taking into account many stakeholders and views. It acknowledges that organization must be flexible because they operate in a complex and dynamic environment. The contemporary strategy also emphasizes how crucial social and ethical responsibility are to management. This approach recognizes the dynamic nature of organization and the need for managers to be flexible and adaptable in their approach to managing them, including total quality management. This practice focuses on improving efficiency, quality, and customer satisfaction through continuous improvement and innovation. Modern management approaches emphasizes the value of cooperation, data-driven decision making, and adapting to changing conditions, and generally indicate a change away from the conventional top-down command and control approach to management. Now, we will discuss one by one in details. Quantitative approach, a management philosophy known as quantitative or mathematical approach, use mathematical and statistical techniques to examine and resolve challenging business issues. This strategy is predicated on the notion that organizing, managing, planning, and making decisions are rational processes that can be represented by the mathematical connection and symbol. The quantitative approach main features are putting focus on the data-driven decision making. The strategy places a strong emphasis on the use of data and statistical analysis to guide decision making. Utilization of mathematical models. The strategy makes use of mathematical models to represent real-world problems and situations clearly. These models assist with understanding the connections between various variables and scenario prediction, optimization, finding the best potential solution to an issue in an effort to improve organizational performance. Finding and weighing various options is necessary in order to choose the one that maximizes the desired results. Collaboration, to design and implement mathematical models and analyze tools to solve business challenges. The techniques include working together among the management professions, mathematicians, and statisticians. Support from technology to gather and analyze data, create models, and produce reports. The methodology significantly relies on the use of computers and other technologies. Managers can identify issues, forecast results, and assess several options by applying the quantitative approach before making a choice. Organization can benefit from this strategy by making better decisions, performing better, and becoming more efficient. It is crucial to remember that this strategy is merely a tool to assist managers in making better decisions rather than replacement for a human judgment. There are few drawbacks or limitations of quantitative management method. It prioritizes decision making over other managerial tasks to start. Second, it disregards the role that people play in decision making. Thirdly, managers frequently have to make quick choices in real world without waiting for all facts to come to the light. Last but not least, the strategy makes the assumption that all factors influencing decision making are measured and interrelated, which is not always the case. Big data analytics and artificial intelligence are the two recent technological advances that have enhanced decision making, but it is still crucial to be aware of all these limits and use these techniques when combined with other abilities and approaches. System approach technique to thinking about the organization and management issues that first appeared in the 1960s is known as system approach. It sees an organization as a cohesive whole made up of connected pieces that aims to survive and flourish in its surroundings. This method focuses on interdependence and interrelatedness of distinct subsystems while simultaneously examining every important organizational characteristics. The system approach views the entire organization as a system when compared to conventional method, which examined each management function independently. Production, marketing, and human resource are just a few examples of the departments that have considered subsystem of overall business system. Each system may be made up of number of subsystems, and each subsystem may itself be made up of more subsystems. A management idea known as system approach views as organization as a network of interrelated systems. Chester Bernard first proposed it, and later contributors Kenneth Balding, Johnson, Rosenweg, and Martin developed on it. The method offers a number of benefits to the modern organization. It looks at the connections and interdependence between different organizational parts, highlighting how crucial it is for the subsystem to function effectively if the organization is to survive and expand. It recognizes how the environment affects the organization and the need for adaptation. This departs from the classical views that downplayed environmental factors. It promotes a comprehensive approach to issue solving, stressing the complete organization as rather than single isolated components. It highlights the organization dynamic and adaptable nature, emphasizing the value of flexibility to meet the shifting environment requirements. In general, the system approach encourages a thorough and integrated problem-solving strategy while criticizing specialized and scattered problem-solving techniques, uses and limitations. The system approach is a useful technique for looking into functions of challenging organization, such as project management, planning, organizing, directing, and controlling are just a few of the various functions that can be connected to one another in order to make decisions. Compared to previous approaches, this one is regarded as being more realistic and useful. The system approach has few drawbacks too, including the potential for being conceptual and unclear, which make it challenging to apply to real-world issues. Additionally, it doesn't offer any particular method or instruments that CEO might use to address the organization issues. In management and organizational studies, the system approach continue to be frequently used as the most recent versions to obtain greater results. Expert advises combining it with other strategies and tactics in order to improve the system approach efficiency in analyzing and managing complex organization. Advanced technology is now being founded, such as machine learning and big data analytics. Situational contingency approach. Contingency approach to management suggests that there is a no one-size-fits all management strategy, and that effective management technique must be tailored to a particular of each scenario in order to be effective. This method, which was developed in 1970 by J.W. Loss and P.R. Lawrence, emphasizes that management issues fluctuates depending on the circumstance and should be handled accordingly rather than sticking to a single fixed management approach. The contingency or situational approach to management emphasizes the importance of adapting management practices to suit specific circumstances, taking into account the impact of different solutions on organizational behavior. This approach recognizes that managers must be flexible and responsive to changing circumstances, developing different methods and action plans as needed to address the specific contingencies they face. For example, the type of leadership, communication system, motivational strategies used in an organization will depend on the unique circumstances of that organization and the challenges it faces. This approach requires managers to be proactive in identifying and responding to the contingencies, making changes to the organization as needed to achieve its goal. Ultimately, the goal of contingency or situational approach is to identify the most effective methods for each situation, leading to better outcome for the organization. Several characteristics of the situational approach to management emphasizes the importance of adjusting to changing circumstances. Contextual management strategies and control frameworks are created to meet situations' unique environment. Environmental responsiveness. Management procedures and policies adapt to changing environmental conditions and circumstances. There is no one-size-fits-all management approach. Thus, managers should refrain from using them. Flexibility and adaptability. In order to respond to shifting conditions, managers must be flexible, willing to change their strategy as necessary. The difference between system approach and contingency approach. System approach and the contingency approach are two distinct approaches to organizational management. The latest updates to the two approaches can be highlighted as emphasizes. The system approach emphasizes the interdependence and the interaction among the subsystems within the organization, recognizing that they work together as a system. The contingency approach emphasizes the impact of external environment on organizational design style and the managerial style, recognizing that organization must adapt to changing environmental conditions. The system approach focuses on the internal environment and subsystems of the organization, recognizing the importance of understanding how the parts of organization work together. The contingency approach focuses on external environment of the organization, recognizing the importance of understanding the external factor that affects the organization. Situation. The system approach treats all organizations alike, but recognize that each organization has a unique characteristics and may require different approaches. The contingency approach takes each organization as a unique entity with different nature and different situations and recognizes the need for flexible approaches that are tailored to the specific situation. Environment. The system approach emphasizes the organization interaction with the environment and its adjustment as per changes. The contingency approach emphasizes the impact of environment on the organization structure and the managerial style, and recognize that organization must adapt to changes in the environment in order to survive. Model. The system approach provides a theoretical model of understanding the organization and its subsystem, recognizing the importance of understanding how the parts of the organization work together. The contingency approach suggests practical solutions to the organizational problems, recognizing the need of flexibility and adaptability in response to changing circumstances. Classical principles. The system approach is silent on the validity of classical principles of management, recognizing the need for more holistic and integrated approach. The contingency approach rejects the blind application of classical principles of management, recognizing that organization must be flexible and adaptable in response to the changing circumstances, and that there is no one best way to manage an organization. Contemporary management approach. The term contemporary approach to the management describes how managers use cutting-edge strategies and tools to accomplish organizational goals. It accounts for the shifting demands of customers as well as employees in a changing business environment. Francis Likert was a well-known management expert who made a substantial impact on modern management theory. He underlined the value of participative management and the necessity of managers having a faith in their employees. Based on how much inputs subordinates were given during the decision-making process, Likert divided management styles into 4 categories. The most effective leadership, in his opinion, is democratic, where employees are given complete trust and permitted to actively participate in decision making. To relate individual and organizational goals, Likert also developed the linking pin concept. The individual who belongs to many groups and serve as both leaders of the lower group and the leaders of upper groups are known as linking pins. The upward orientation of this approach, however, can cause decision making to lag. To evaluate leadership philosophy of the particular leaders, Likert and his colleagues have created measuring scales with 51 items to assess leadership style and pinpoint opportunities for development. This scale is still often used. Overall, Likert's contribution to the modern management concept had aided managers in putting a human-centered emphasis on management, enhancing organizational performance by fostering an interactive and trustworthy environment. Peter F. Drucker. Peter F. Drucker is a highly acclaimed management thinker, consultant, and author. He was born in Vienna in 1909 and had a diverse background, which included being a newspaper correspondent, economist, teacher, and a professor of various disciplines. His most significant contributions include his books on management, such as The Practice of Management, Managing for Results, and The Effective Executive. He has also written on a broad range of management topics, making it challenging to summarize his thoughts. However, some of his most important contributions include his emphasis on the importance of managing oneself, his advocacy for a customer-centric approach to business, his promotion of decentralized decision-making, and his recognition of the significance of knowledge work in modern organizations. Peter F. Drucker's most significant contributions include his insight on the nature of management, organization, and federalism. In 1950, Drucker publishes The New Society. In 1954, he publishes The Practice of Management. In 1964, he publishes Managing of Results. In 1967, The Effective Executive. In 1969, The Age of Discontinuity. In 1974, Drucker publishes Management Tasks, Responsibilities, Practices, and in 1999 publishes Management Challenges for the 21st Century. The key points of his contributions. Nature of management. Drucker emphasizes creative management over bureaucratic management. He believes that managers should be innovators who develop new ideas, combine old and new ideas, or adapt ideas from other fields. Drucker treats tasks as a management and management as a discipline. He emphasizes performance and practices and considers people to be most important factor in the management. Drucker believes that the work of the management is generic and continuous, and the theory of management is a universal science. He thinks that management is not a culture free, and that it is a social function. Drucker predicts that the concern in management will shift to the structure, composition, and qualification of the top management and of the people in it. Organization. According to Drucker, organizations are the backbone of modern society. He emphasizes the role of autonomous institutions and decries bureaucratic structure because of dysfunctional attributes. Drucker thinks that the rules under bureaucracy become end of the behavior rather than means and should only be used in cases where judgment is not required. He has emphasized to put the rules on a trial at regular intervals. Drucker believes that an effective organization structure should be organized for performance, contain the least possible number of managerial levels, and make possible for the training and testing of tomorrow's top managers. Federalism. Drucker advocates the concept of federalism, the centralized control in a decentralized structure. He distinguishes between delegation and decentralization and call it the federal principle. Drucker thinks that decentralization creates new constitution and the new ordering principle and can be equated with federalism. He believes that the federation set up the top management free to devote itself to its proper function, defines the function and responsibility of the operating people, creates yardstick to measure their success and effectiveness in the operating jobs, and help to resolve the problem of continuity. Functions of management. Management has no existence in itself and is only meaningful when it serves an institution. Three equally important but essential different tasks of the management: define and pursue the specific purpose and mission of the institution, make work productive and workers achieve, manage social impacts and social responsibility. A manager needs to be both an able administrator and imaginative entrepreneur. The 8 areas where objective of the performance must be set: market standing, innovation, productivity, physical and financial resources, profitability, manager performance and development, worker performance and attitude, and public responsibility. Management by objectives. Introduced in the practice of management, objectives should be set for every area where performance and results affect the survival and prospects of the business. Management by objective is a philosophy that applies to every manager at any level and any business enterprise, substitutes the control from the outside and motivates the manager to action by meeting the objective needs of the task. Futurity and organizational changes. Rapid changes in society, technology, and the explosion of knowledge in behavioral and physical sciences. Changes is inevitable and it is almost impossible to foresee the shape of things to come. Develop a philosophy of life to cope with the change and take them as challenges to build a better society. 𝘼𝙗 Prahalad was a renowned management scholar and a professor at the Rose School of Business at the University of Michigan. He is widely known for his contribution to the field of strategic management and corporate social responsibility. Prahalad was born in India in 1941. He received a bachelor degree in physics from Loyola College in Chennai and a postgraduate degree in management from Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. Later, he received a PhD in business from Harvard Business School. The traditional organizational structure is built on hierarchical model where the top leadership is assumed to have complete knowledge and authority to establish objectives and work procedures. The emerging team model, in contrast, is based on the belief that knowledge and insight spread throughout the organization and the success depend on the skills and expertise of all organizational members when they are brought together in teams. Manager must share authority and accountability with teams that were previously collapsed by unchangeable bureaucratic lines of authority if the strategy is to be effective. People skills will be crucial, and even managers will need to be learn how to follow the team, says Senge Prahalad. In their book Competing for the Future, Gary Hamel and Senge Prahalad make the case that for any organization looking to stay ahead, navigating from the present to future is a key issue. This problem occurs because both public and the private institution must be navigate a world that is becoming more unpredictable, where experience is becoming progressively devalued, and where well-known landmarks no longer serves as a map. The institution landscape has never changed so swiftly, and industry boundaries have never been so pliable. According to the author, the lines between the rivals, partners, suppliers, and customers are blurring. The author wonders how business can navigate the future without a map in light of these difficulties. Michael E. Porter. Michael E. Porter is a well-known Harvard Business School professor and management thinker who developed the theory of competitive strategy in 1980s, which has had a significant impact on strategic planning and decision making in business world. In his book, The Competitive Advantages of Nations, he argued that the strict environmental regulation can help companies become more competitive on a global level by forcing them to innovate. Porter has focused on the concept of shared value in recent years, advocating for sustainable business practices and addressing societal and environmental challenges. He has also been involved in efforts to improve healthcare delivery and outcomes, calling for greater collaboration between providers, payers, and patients. Overall, Porter's ideas continue to shape the way business and governments approach competition, innovation, and societal impact. Michael E. Porter's classification of the industry setting into 5 categories was introduced in his books The Competitive Advantage, Creating and Sustaining Superior Performance in 1985. The 5 categories are fragmented industries, emerging industries, industries undergoing a transition to maturity, declining industries, global industries. In the same book, Porter also introduced the 5-force model to corporate strategy, which outlines the 5 environmental forces that can be threaten an organization's ability to compete in a given market. These forces are threat of new entrants, bargaining power of suppliers, industry rivalry among current competitors, bargaining power of customers, threat of substitute products or services. The model emphasizes the importance of analyzing these forces and proposing a program for influencing or defending against them in order to achieve competitive advantages in the market. Porter's idea on strategy and competition continue to be widely studied and applied in business today. Peter Senge. Peter Senge is a management thinker who popularized the concept of learning organization. He published his book, The Fifth Discipline, The Art and Practice of the Learning Organization, in 1990, which became a bestseller and reference in the field of organizational learning. Senge argued that the traditional way of thinking in organization, which focus on profit and products, are not enough to survive in constantly changing environment. He proposed that organization should become a learning organization, which are capable of continuously acquiring, creating, and applying knowledge to produce extraordinary results. In a learning organization, people are encouraged to learn continuously, and the organization creates a culture of learning that supports individual and collective development. Senge identified 5 disciplines that organization should practice to become learning organization. Systematic thinking. Organizations should view themselves as a system, understand the interdependence and complexity of their components. They should use system thinking to identify the root cause of problems and to develop solutions that address the system as a whole. Personal mastery. Individuals should commit to continuous learning and personal development. Personal mastery involves developing a clear vision of what one wants to achieve and constantly working toward it. Mental models. Individuals and organizations have mental models, which are assumptions and beliefs that guide their actions. Organizations should challenge their mental models and adopt new ones that better reflect the changing environment. Shared vision. Organizations should develop a shared vision that motivates and guides people's actions. A shared vision creates a sense of purpose and identity and helps align people towards a common goal. Team learning. Learning is a social activity. An organization should create opportunities for people to learn together. Team learning involves continuous dialogue and discussion among team members to explore different perspectives and to find the best solution. Senge concept of learning organization emphasizes the importance of continuous learning for individuals and organizations. It encourages individuals to learn continuously and enjoy the sense of accomplishment, developing fresh organizational capabilities all the time. Senge ideas have inspired many organizations to adopt the learning organizational model, including Toyota, General Electric, and Shell Oil. These companies have seen significant improvements in their organizational performance, including increased innovation, faster decision making, and a better overall productivity. Today, the concept of learning organization continue to be relevant and inspiring for organizations seeking to adapt and succeed in rapidly changing business environment. Tom Peters, In Search of Excellence. Tom Peters co-authored the book In Search of Excellence with Robert Waterman in 1982, where they examined 43 of Fortune 500 top performing companies. Peter advocated for the devolution of power to lowest person possible in an organization to empower them to solve the most problems possible. He emphasized quality and customer orientation and wanted to simplify organizations. Peter brought out the 8 attributes of an excellent company, which included taking the initiative, being close to the customer, autonomy and entrepreneurship, productivity through people, value-driven leadership, staying close to the business, having a simple form and lean staff, and combining central core values with decentralized organization. While working with McKinsey as a consultant, Peter was part of the team that developed the famous 7S model of organization variables. He was not in favor of concepts such as economy of scale, low-cost production, or revenue enhancement, and encouraged spending on product development, quality control, and customer service. Peters also advocated the abolition of hierarchy because it is the enemy of entrepreneurship and wanted organizations to come up with new ideas to help them survive. He encouraged managers to make maximum contribution to their organizations and admitted that the 8 points he mentioned in Search of Excellence may not be the only ones needed in the future. This is the end of part 2 of the development of management thought. I hope you like this video. So don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for the future notification. Until then, see you in the next coming video.